Empty hearts and neon lights, they're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly, and I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now, to where we started out. Get me out of now, to where we started out. La 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 la, oh, oh. Get me out of broken hearts and starting fights, turning truth to lies. Gotta get up, stop wasting time. Yeah, I wanna run off and fly, and I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh,
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the night inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, hear them scream, okay, this a dream. And I pray as a team, one day it'll be me. If I want it, then I get it. Head down, don't regret it. Push myself to the limit. If I play it, then I win it. I'm just saying, I'm just living for today. For a minute, I don't stay, I just visit. Have no shame, I admit it. Looking right at me to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me. Swear to God, man, I'ma make it soon. Silence all the haters as they see us making moves. I do what I want, so I got nothing to prove. Staying motivated, teaching others what to do. I'm staying focused, my mind is open. They start to notice that I'm in motion. There is no potion, you're not just chosen. It takes devotion to stay composed, man. Never stop, there ain't no time to fall. Try to live, get it up, you got one life to ball. Thinking big, never small, cause you gotta want it all. When you finally get that call, you get ready, take it on. Need a handout, I already stand out. Starting to advance now, ready to expand now. You don't have a chance now, cause we're in demand now. Make it by the grand now, feeling in command now. They're looking right at me to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me.
In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Hi, I welcome all the viewers to 29th Chessbrainz Club Arena. I'm none other than Abhishek, your host, your toast, whatever you call. So we are just 1 minute and 30 seconds away from this tournament going live. And we see that we currently have around 38 participants. And we have already got a lot of requests for players. We have Ryan in the line, then we have Yuvan, then we are getting a request for Arish, Arya, Tanish. I think we have a lot of players who are going to participate, and their parents are desperately waiting to see their kids game. So let's get started. So okay, so Mr. Chess Forever has made the first request in the comment section till now, and they are even leading the leaderboard. So whether it's making the request or showing their rating, they're currently on the top. So we are directly going to head to their game, and then we are going to see the other request as well. Okay, the kid has not got paired till now. Yeah, I think pairing should go now. Okay, so the top one and top two are taking against each other. We have Dino playing with white on the second spot and Chess Forever on the black. Now we have got a position from the Slav defense, and currently it's in the opening stage. So we will see how this game flourishes. Apart from that, we see this exchange coming in right now by the white. So white wants to go for an open position. Both players have completed the castle. The placement of knight on e5 is very superior and solid. At this point, the plan of white was to exchange a knight for a bishop and ruin the black's pawn structure next to the king. But if you release the tension, you are helping your opponent's pieces to get better. Now, a general advice here is to take towards the center. So there is a strategy basically where in future, black can play king to h7, rook to h8, and this rook will have an open file where it can pair it up with with the bishop or with the queen in the future and threaten a checkmate from h2. Also, some players like to take with the f pawn, but the problem while taking with the f pawn is your e6 pawn becomes a backward pawn, and this can be a potential target in the later run of the game. So the kid made the right decision here, and white is looking to exchange pieces. We can clearly see that they did not even hold it on their bishop pair. White is developing. Black is slightly behind in the development because white is completely ready with their army, but black's knight has not got developed, and then rook. So these moves are played again. And here black played knight to g4, threatening the queen and the helper checkmate. But white was fine enough to block that with pawn to g3. There are light square weaknesses, but the bishops are missing out of the position, so it won't be easy to target them. Also, the rook was played on c8, and the rook is sort of lined up against the opponent's queen, so there can be tactics down this row. Queen to e2 was played to get rid of that knight, and the knight jumped back. Rook is played on c2. Now, whenever the d4 openings are played. Generally, it's important for the black to achieve the e5 break, but then in this position, because c pawn isn't there for now, so because of that, breaking with e5 can have its own implications, like the pawn on d5 can weaken up as an isolated pawn. So okay, I think black has given the break here, and I think that's a good decision, because now you are in an isolated queen pawn position and you will have a massive attack down the road. The rooks are lining up right now. Even white is also having good activity on the board. And a discovered attack has been given in the position. Knight is going to fall. So good tactical show by Dino here. Now black is into a skewer, so they need to be very careful placing the queen to e6, so they hold on their rook twice and they do not lose their rook. If queen got misplaced in this position, in that scenario, the rook will take on c8, the f8 rook will take, and opponent will have one more rook to capture and the king will get attacked. So it's important to find the move queen to e6 in the position. Again, black is a piece up, so black can now start exchanging pieces to make the position more simpler, because if less number of pieces are on the board, it becomes easy for you to play and quickly win that position. For black, it's recommended to do more and more exchanges right now, while their b7 pawn is hanging at this point, so rook c8 might not be the best choice here. But again, you have ideas like rook c1 and then... Okay, this was one of those good moves because it still does a bit of attack and it defends its own pawn at the same time. I was just thinking, if rook c8 and if the rook captures on b7, there can be some ideas here, like the queen can go h3 and at some point you look to play rook to c1 and threaten a back rank sort of position. But even this is a very good move found by the black. And black came with another tactical blow here, which is a knight 4 coming up on the queen, coming up on the rook and the queen. And white has offered a queen exchange here, but isn't the best, because okay, here the plan, I think the black is simply going to take the rook on c7, and then black is simply two pieces up in this position. One piece up. The rook is there, and now it's just a matter of few moves and black is completely going to win this. So good game by Mr. Chess Forever here, outplaying Dino, and Chess Forever, good game on tactics, I am going to say. Now, one of the ideas here can include to get the rook on c2, set up your sleeping battery and try to get the f2 pawn and create a solid attack on the white's king. On the other hand, you can take one of the pawns of your opponent, and then you can just simply try to play with your passes on the queen side, or you can look to trade down the queens too. So these are some ways how we can make this position work. Okay, white has found a way to achieve a threefold repetition. Oh wow, white was losing and suddenly they managed to get a threefold repetition. So what happens, viewers, I'll just try to explain it in the simplest words. If same sort of moves gets repeated 3 times, okay, in that position by both the teams, then it is going to become a draw, because game is not progressing. Same moves are being played by both the armies, and white used this technique to get a draw because they were losing. So brilliant observation and presence of mind by the white here as well, but black just outplayed it, that's for sure. We are going to take on the next request now. Okay. So we are getting the next request for Yuan right now. We are going to head to their game and see how is that going on. Okay, so Bruhad is playing with the white's pieces, Yuan is playing as black, and both kids just have the starting rating right now. So they have just got into the chess and they are trying to gain experience and get better with time. So we'll see. Mostly these are beginners and intermediates. Now we see one activity by the white here. They are moving their queen repeatedly. So in opening, moving the same piece multiple times will prevent your remaining army from coming out and building a good attack on your opponent. So getting the queen out itself is bad because it's a royal piece and you want it to come in the later stage of the game. Plus, moving the same piece will keep your remaining pieces out of the game for that part. Actually, that even worked out because here Black thought their knight is going to fall even though pawn was guarding it. They played a bishop to d7, maybe to unpin this knight in some or the other way. And the b7 pawn lost its protection from the bishop and queen managed to take it. Now, Black played pawn to e6 to get the dark square bishop out and trying to do a castle. But this pawn on c7 got attacked by the queen and bishop together. So bishop managed to win one more pawn. White was like 2 pawn up by this point. And then Black thought, let me exchange queens at this point because my opponent's queen is making too much of chaos into my kingdom. So they thought of exchanging queens and White didn't exchange and left the queen as it is. White didn't pay attention to the opponent's move. They lost their queen. So I think White should take a bit of time and then make their moves to fix this. Bishop goes back. They thought they have saved the bishop, but they didn't knew the knight is also attacking that square. So after losing the queen, they lost the knight. They played their knight ahead and again it was placed on a weak square where the black pieces were attacking and then White just left the game. So I think White can take a bit more time and then play their moves. Generally, at the beginner level, we don't pay attention. It's important you take your time and play the chess slowly and look for just not making the basic mistakes of the game and just try to complete. That's how you can go ahead. Now, we are getting a request for Arish. We are going to quickly take their game. Okay. So Arish is playing with the white pieces against Pramanch. They are playing from black. And the game has just ended and Pramanch has managed to win it. We'll just see how this position has came. Okay, it has been like a big game till now. So we'll just try to, fast forward and just try to see what has happened. So we had the basic game going here, but again we see early withdrawal of the queen. When the queen comes out early, the results are going to be a bit more drastic in that particular game. And White played a wonderful move. When the knight went on d5, it was hitting the queen and it was hitting the pawn which was previously guarded by the queen. Now as she moved out early, this square became a weakness and the pawn is being attacked and looking for a fork. Queen to d6 was played in order to hold on to their queen and this pawn together, which is a good move. But anyways, White moved the same piece twice. It was not needed at this point. They could have, let's say, developed a bishop here and they could have just looked for castle. Knight c3 and then bishop was played. White is following the basic principles of the game, how to start a game, get your pieces out, castle. So wonderful strategy by the White here. And then White was also looking to punish black for getting the queen out. The queen of the black was on the radar here and they did an exchange which made the black king move and the game kept on going. But we can clearly see the black army is completely underdeveloped. Knight comes out and I think this move wasn't the best. Queen went on f6 attacking the knight and counter-attacking the queen was not a good deal here because you lost your knight. White was not having the right plan here. Like they were trying to attack the queen, but they were moving the same piece repeatedly. One thing recommended for the White at this point is to develop their remaining pieces. I think that is one of the best things they can do. And black got an early attack here. Black somehow managed to find an attack. The bishop was played on e6 and this bishop could have taken it for free. But I think White was down the clock when this position came up and because of that, they had a tough time. And black managed to give a sequence of checks and managed to win this. So good game by Pramanch here, even after not following the opening principles. just because they have a very good mating tactics, they were able to outplay Arish. And it was also a game where the time played a very big role because Pramansh had 6 seconds left in the clock and Arish had 0 seconds left in the clock. So I think time also played a very big role against these kids. Now we are getting a request for Arya. We are going to take their game. Okay, so currently Sony is playing with the black pieces and Arya is playing. Sony is playing with the white pieces and Arya is playing with the black pieces. We are currently into a middle game right now where both players have made their king safe and they are now planning to either perform a checkmate or to win each other's pieces in the game. When we look at this position, one thing is pretty clear that white wants to go all out behind the black's king because they have a lot of attackers on the king side if you see that. So white's all the pieces are pointing towards the king side of black and they want to perform an early checkmate attack at this point. We just need to see how black is going to handle this. The first thing I would like to say, Queen to g4 was sort of a mistake at this point because the c8 bishop was already lined up against that knight and now followed by the queen. So the knight got pinned. If the knight tries to move at this point, the queen will fall after the bishop captures queen. So black attacked that knight and the point is if white knight will try to move, the queen is going to fall and now knight is going to fall for a pawn which is worth lesser. So now white managed to take a pawn there, but they broke the pin and black did not pay attention at this point that bishop can simply take the queen. Audience, just hold on for a moment. I'll be back. Yeah, so I'm back. Okay, so at this point, what happened? The knight got attacked, and here, if the knight moves, the queen was meant to fall in the very next move. The bishop is just going to take the queen, and black is simply better and winning in this position. But here, after that knight move, black figured out that this knight is being attacked twice, and they thought of taking that. But they completely forgot that they could have taken a queen and knight gave a check at this position with a fork. So here black needs to give the rook, otherwise their queen will fall. And that happened. And finally black realized they are winning a queen and they just took it without wasting a time. So I think this position is now favoring to the black when we see that. Also, you guys must be wondering if pawn was played on h3, why the black is not saving their own bishop and instead they are playing queen to e7, queen to f6. The reason behind that is either they are looking for a fork here and they are looking to win. They are looking to like just take the pawn on f2 with two attackers and then win a rook with a fork, or they are just trying to take opponent's bishop back and offering an exchange. So instead of taking this bishop with one guy, at this point, white just played the pawn to not let that attack happen on from f2. They moved another pawn to stop the attack, but they broke the pin again and they had to lose their rook after that. So one thing we clearly see that Sony needs to understand that I think they're breaking the pin, their coach, and they need to work a bit more with the pin and they will able to solve their tactical problems. Here, white played bishop to d5. It wasn't the best deal in the game. I mean, they can do that, or they could have taken the opponent's bishop as well. Both moves are fine, and black just gave it off to open up the white king more and more. When white played bishop to e5, they were looking to take the knight on c6. And black just kept on taking next to the king because he knows I have two bishops, I have a queen, I just need to remove the remaining covering of white king and I'm going to win no matter what pieces they take from me. And then they just went on the streak of attack, and after some checks, they were able to perform a smooth checkmate. A very good game by Arya because his rating is just 1200 and he managed to defeat a player who is almost to 1400. So good game by Arya and Sony here. Sony just need to work a bit on tactics. Okay, now we are getting a request for Tanish. We are quickly going to take a look at their game. Tanish is playing from the pieces of black and Arya is playing from the pieces of white. When we look at this current position, it is an endgame and black is having one extra bishop on the board right now and white is just having a single rook and a king to fight here. But what just happened? Black has taken the a2 pawn and given his rook, given his bishop for that pawn. I think I can understand this pretty well. The white is having 4 pawns, whereas black is already having 6 pawns. So here the plan of black is, he is giving a bishop for a pawn, but because they have a lot of material, so losing a bishop for a pawn is not a thing for them, because now white has 3 pawns and black has 6. Also the a pawn is just going to move now and it will try to become a queen because it is going to have no obstacles in his way. This type of pawn is called as a passed pawn in chess. And I think for black is trying to make the position simple. They know if opponent will, not have more pieces and more pawns on the board, the game will become good for them. But now I think it's a late time for black. They should just start rolling this pawn and they are winning. Shouldn't care about even this pawn. It's not even needed. Black is playing on the wrong side of the board. They just have this pawn which can queen up by rolling down. They should look to just roll it down. Nothing else is needed to be done for them. And they are more defending in this position when they can just get their queen and they can complete this. Now they started rolling it. The rook will try to come in front, but it doesn't really matter. The black rook is meant to be behind it. Okay. The c4 pawn is now going to fall. And I'm very sure black is winning this game with a huge margin. Because now, even if your rook stays in the front of my pawn, I'm going to roll down the b pawn that will attack your rook at some point and you will come out of the way and I'm going to promote after. Now, because you have so many connected pawns, I think it's just a matter of finishing. Even if this white rook manages to take my pawn, I still have 3 more pawns. So I am not lacking material. And even if I lose some material down the process, I'm still going to win. Okay, this can lead to a stalemate if black will not play it properly. They need to be a bit careful. Now the move is to go king d2 because you don't want your opponent's king to come in the way of your pawn. King, yes, but they can still run into it. Okay, now you can check from c2 and c1 is a queen. Okay, king can now take the pawn on b3. It's just a matter of giving the finishing touch and the game will end. Black has done phenomenally good in this game now. Yes, now the white king is being pushed in the corner. So checkmate is going to become easy again. Every kid has their own way to perform it. There are only few ways how you can achieve that. But you can do it in the comfort zone. At the end, the results matter. So good game by Tanish here. And Aryavansh as well. But I think the simplification part is I like the most from Tanish's side. Okay, let us quickly take a look at the leaderboard. We have Karthik on the 10th position with 8 points. We have Niket on the 9th position with 8 points. We have Nithilin on the 8th position with 8 points. We have Virenja on the 7th position with 8 points. We have Tanish on the 6th position with 8 points. We have Abhi, the champion, on the 5th position with 9 points. We have Parth on the 4th position with 9 points. The leaderboard has changed now. Dino King on the 4th position with 10 points. Afnan on the 3rd position with 11 points. Starfish Pikachu on the 2nd position with 11 points. With a 100% win rate, the kid has just played 4 games and managed to win all of them. We have Swayam on the 1st position with 5 wins in a row and 19 points. So we see that the leaderboard is currently really competitive because the 8th position kid is having 8, or the 10th position kid is having 8 points, and then the 5th position kid is having 9 points. So we see there's a tough competition going on, and definitely this is going to change a lot of times. Let's take on the next request now. We are getting a request for Samagra right now. We are going to take their game. Okay, so Samagra is playing with white pieces and Nishal is playing with the black pieces. Samagra is having around 150 more points than Nishal at this point, but when the kids are above 1000 of rating, it is not going to be that difficult for them to play at least a good chess. It's like a marker where you start playing good chess without making more mistakes in the game, and you can still give a solid show to your opponent. Now, at this point, what is taking place in the game? Okay, so what happened? The knight was played on d7 by the black, and this was actually a mistake because this knight is not being protected by anyone, and white knight can take it for free. Not only it can take it for free, but it sets a fork on the rook and on the queen. So now black is in the choice to save one of their pieces. They'll obviously save the queen because it works more. And now white got 5, black got 3, and suddenly now white is doing extremely good in this position. They are having a complete extra rook. Black has 1 rook, white has 2 rooks, and white is doing fine. And we suddenly see that white started to offer an exchange of queens here because you want to simplify the position when you have more material. We are witnessing this for the second time, so kids are improving after gaining experience. The e6 pawn is a weak pawn because it doesn't have a friendly pawn who can guard it. So one of the good plan can be to play the rook e1 and try to attack, but it's not easy because the queen is currently pointing to f2. So if you move the rook e1, then queen is going to take the pawn on f2, and then the rook on e1 will fall after the fork. So putting the bishop is, I think, a better approach, but eventually your open file will also fade away with that. Even though developing pieces is one of the fundamentals, so I guess it's fine. And white can look to get at least this rook into the game along the semi-open c file, and then they can try to make a play. Black has offered an exchange of pawn, and both had isolated pawn in the position. They didn't had any friendly pawns. So both weak pawns are now going to get exchanged, but let's see how that goes. Now taking with the bishop has a tactic of threatening the mate on h2 at this point. So white needs to be really careful because if they played anything random, queen h2 is just a game over. And there are only few ways how you can stop that. Like you can move the pawn you can move this pawn, or you can offer a queen trade. If you offer a queen trade, you lose an extra pawn, so I will not recommend that. Oh. Anyways, because they have extra piece, I think trading, even if they lose an extra material, I don't think if that will change anything for them. They can still trade just because they are already having that extra piece. So even if they lose 1 point out of their army, it won't matter much for them. Black is taking time, and black found actually a very good way to play. But Black found a sort of a discovered attack because they moved the queen away of asking white that I'm not going to trade because I have less material. Exchanging pieces will make the game easier for you, but not for me. So they took the queen back and they launched a silent attack on the queen. On the other hand, white is having this tempting idea of taking on h6, but their queen will fall. So it is coming on the cost of the queen, so they need to be very careful. Queen has moved on g4, so queen has saved herself while keeping the threat of bishop takes h6, and this is what black needs to be careful about. Also, as now there are two semi-open files that white have, and this pawn is well protected by the bishop and king, so they can bring one of their rooks along the d file and another one to c, and they can try to bring their remaining pieces into the battle. The more guys come, the easier it gets for you, because when your pieces work together, the game becomes easier. And now black has offered an exchange, but I'm not a very big fan of that actually, because black has less material. So exchanging pieces will just going to take the bar of the game towards white, because they have more pieces. So the lesser pieces get on the board, it is going to favor the army which has more material, which is the white. And it is not looking good. Still, if white wants, they can play rook c1 and they can gain a tempo on the queen. So here, what do we mean by a tempo? We attacked one piece of our opponent. We improved our rook from an inactive position to an active one, while we attacked our opponent's piece, so they need to move the same piece twice. So we wasted their move while we used that move for our development of the rook. This is called as a tempo. Now, white has given a check. I don't think if checks will matter much in this position. They need to somehow exchange queens if they can, or at least start attacking the pawns on the queen side. They need to start building some good play. Also, both kids are taking their time because both are below 1 minute, and this shows that both are having good time management. Because when you take time, that means you are thinking and making moves, and that is obviously going to give good quality of moves in your game. Now the c6 pawn is going to fall because its friendly pawn has moved. But again, we see that kid is in the time pressure at this point. Only 30 seconds are remaining in their clock. So this is quite natural. When you run into the time pressure, everything will not be in your favor, and you need to fight against time and your opponent together. So both things play the role, and same goes even for the black, because goes for the white. If Samagra's clock is going to run out, then he might also end up losing the game because his clock might run out. So these are the factors which makes the complete chess game. White is trying to exchange, okay? And Nishal is taking his time, not going for the trade. He's like, I'll maybe lose to the time, but I'm not trading with you. So a very good composure by Nishal here, and the fighting spirit. I really loved it. The kid is trying his best. I see he's down a piece, but he has played really well till now. I need to appreciate both of the kids' game that they played. The kid is left with 1 second here, and he's still pre-moving, doing everything what's possible, trying to fight well. And white is going to exchange, and finally the game has ended, where black lost their time and they lost the game. But a good show, and I think this is a very instructive game for other kids of Chessbrainz to have a better time management. Take your time, take the game to the deep, and have composure. That is more important. Very good game by both the players. We are getting a request for Atvik right now. We are going to take their game. Atvik is playing with the black pieces. Niket is playing white. Atvik's rating is around 1400. Niket's rating is 900. There's almost a difference of 500 points. So black is up in its rating by a huge margin. We need to see how Niket is going to stand him. When we look at the position, okay, Okay. White is playing the basic opening here, and black played a Karutan. Playing your bishop to d3 isn't the best choice, because then your d2 pawn gets blocked and eventually your c1 bishop gets locked. You need to then have a plan to move pawn b3, bishop b2. These are the ways how you can get that bishop back into the game, but you need to have that backup plan. Otherwise, it can get tricky. And again, the pawn structure is something you need to also maintain, but kids at 900, I think, don't know about those ideas. So it's completely fine how that kid is playing. Black is knowing all the options in his setup, and he's like putting accuracy. His experience is speaking slightly better here. Now, one thing to note here, the bishop on c1 was defending the pawn on b2. As soon as that bishop came out in its development, the black queen was ready to take on the b2 pawn, and then eventually the rook on a1 if white will not notice it. And white launched an early counter attack here, but again it's not enough. White played the knight on d2, so knight is guarding the knight, so queen can't take, and they sneakily connected their rook, so your queen cannot take my rook because my other rook will silently, it is watching out my other rook, and if you take my queen, I'll take your queen as well. So that happened. Now queen was played on b4, and black tried exchanging queen here, but white denied the exchange. Good game by white, and a fighting spirit again we see in the game. White played rook to b1. This is sort of a skewer where the queen and the b7 pawn is being attacked at once. If the queen will not stay around this pawn, the rook is going to take the pawn in the next move, and it can create problems for you. So queen went on a5, and I think white could have just simply taken it back. But then the problem is the bishop can maybe come back and trap that rook in the b7 square. So there was a trick, and white decided to play the queen b3 and just create more pressure down the road. And the game is still going on. A good thing to see from Niket here, he's maintaining good composure. His king is safe because he has castled. His dark square bishop is active. His all pieces are doing pretty well right now. What Niket needs to find here is they need to move this king to the side, and because the black king is in the center, they need to play a quick pawn f4, f5, and they need to break this chain of pawn that black have, which is keeping their king safe in the center. After you manage to create some weaknesses and open file, then the black king can get attacked in the center. So I think this is going to play a huge role if white can find such kind of plans. The queen has been played on h5 here, and white is doing very basics, okay? He just wants to threaten a mating attack. The queen can again come forward and attack the dark square weaknesses. The knight can then come for the help. Looks quite strategic right now. Also, one more thing. If somehow white manages to get a knight on the square, the game is over for black. But they need to find a good way to get it till here. I'm just thinking of a plan, a quick plan that works. Currently, this pawn is preventing this knight from coming here. Otherwise, knight comes here, this knight comes, and the knight and queen can work together to threaten a mate on h7. This is one of the main ideas in this position. Otherwise, you can maneuver your knight. You can find a better route for your knight to get it on the same square. So something can be. Okay, it's difficult to find. Here, one move is to go knight here, pawn push, knight here, and knight here. It will take around 4 moves, I guess. But again, it's worth doing because your opponent has moved their pawns in the light squares or white squares, and the dark squares are completely weak right now because no one is looking after those. When the pawn was back, it was looking after those squares. So again, you can maneuver and you can try to set a knight here. Even if pawn takes, you can still threaten a mate with the pawn and queen at this point. I think white can still manage to win this. White is doing well. Good to see there's a huge rating difference, and still white is holding the position in a good way. Even though right now knight can jump on g5 and threaten a mate with the queen. This is another idea even. White is setting up a battery. I'm just, okay, here the bishop can simply take the rook. That's one of the main ideas. I think white has not seen that, but the strategy that white is willing to use, setting up a battery, taking on the b7, strategically this kid is doing amazing, because after rook takes b7, queen takes h7 is a mate. So what a solid game by the kid here. Superb game. Bishop has managed to take, and knight jumped in to threaten a mate. Okay, the position is getting okay. Knight can capture the rook now, and then you can take the bishop in the next move, or queen can first take. Queen can take here. Queen takes h7, and after that, I mean, white is doing very well. It's quite amazing to see how white has outplayed Atvik here. Atvik is having Atvik is into the time pressure. He's just having like 30 seconds. What a wonderful show by the kids. I never expected a 900 to, fight in such a good shape against a 1500. Superb. Still looking to like take the pawn, and black is struggling to handle this position. Now one of the plans can be, okay, wait, now the pawn can fall simply. White could have taken. I think white is trying to flag down black, because black is below 10 seconds right now. White is playing faster moves, so more clock, falls for the black, and they run out of the time. But there's a back rank. Okay, white has managed to stop it. Can there be a threefold idea? No. 7 seconds left. Can Atvik hold on this position, or is white going to prevail supreme? The time will tell. There's a chance of threefold repetition right now. I see that. If the queen can come in a zigzag manner and try this line, they can manage to do it, as now the queen is moved. Okay, white has managed to. White is completely outplaying here. White is winning this. If black will stop pre-moving, white is winning. Black is just like spamming moves to just fight against their clock. They have 0.1 second left. Microsecond is left in their clock. How is this kid holding so good? Oh my god. If Atvik manages to pull the game off from here, oh my goodness, Atvik played a wonderful game. Because after queen to b3, it was a mate in one. But I think Niket had a better time management, and his aggression was on top. I think 75% of this game went to Niket, because he was completely pressing with his attacks, which made the Atvik to spend his time and think for the right defenses. But Atvik came back really well in the later stage of the game. But unfortunately, no one can stand against time, and this is a good example to that. We'll take on the next request now. Okay, we are getting a request for top chess Parth. Parth is playing with the black's pieces, and Livinesh is playing with the white's pieces. Now, this is again an endgame. Both players have almost same number of pieces. Black is only having one less pawn than white, and the good thing for white is they again have passers in the center. Like, you can assume that d pawn is going to become a queen at some point. If the f pawn will move forward, or if the e pawn is going to roll down, then even that is going to have a chance of becoming the queen, and the bishop is holding a bit longer on those. You can't take, because I'm going to take your queen, but queen is defended, so you can't take my queen. Okay. So exchange sacrifice was given, and I think this is a good strategy, maybe by the black here, to get both the pawns of white, which were about to become a queen, in one line. But then, so one of their pieces can stop. There was no need to, no need to play the king to f7. They could have like played their queen to f5, and they could have guarded the knight 2 times, because white was attacking it 2 times. Moving the king away just gave a free knight to your opponent, and now queen and rook are working together to do some attacks on your king, and that, I think that's what has happened. Again, white is like in time to get a new queen, just give a check, and then okay, white is trying to simplify the position. Even this is a very good approach, and we see both the kids have also taken time. Parth is having 34 seconds. Livinesh is having 27, 28 seconds. Again, the kids are using their time pretty wisely, thinking for the best thing they can do in the position, and then they are giving their output. I really loved how kids have grown over the period of time. Good show by both the players here. And white is like few moves away now. They just need to like get a queen, and they just need to finish the black's king. Oh, what a bold move here. He's having like this pawn, and that king is far away, so the white knows it pretty well that even if I give a rook for a pawn, I definitely have one pawn in the a file which is going to become a queen, and black has no way to stop it. Wonderful show by white here. And he's doing it to keep the position simple, as white managed to win in time. Wonderful game by Livinesh here. Parth played it also pretty well, but I think there can be only one winner. Okay, now we are in the last 15 minutes of the tournament, and Starfish Pikachu is on the first position. I think he has been undefeated throughout this tournament with a win rate of 100%, which is a very, very big thing. And he's having the lead of 30 points. Abhi, the champion, is also following him up. The sole reason for that is he is also having a win rate of a complete 100%. We never know how the tables can turn after this. Okay, let's take the game of Mr. Chess Forever. We are going to see how that kid is playing. We are getting another request for them. I think they have already completed the game. Once they get paired up, we are going to feature the game for sure. Okay. Let's take a random game from a random page. I think that is going to be a better deal for us. Let's take the game of Ariansh. Oh, what is happening? Rayansh 2718 is playing with white, and Rayansh RR is playing from black. We are into an endgame, and white is completely dominant here with two queens. They have just promoted one pawn into a queen in front of us, and now it's just a matter of completing the game. But the black is also having only 10 seconds in the clock. I think it's just a matter of giving the ladder checkmate, or you can give it anyways. Doesn't really matter right now. Okay. Is white having difficulty to perform this mate? It's just a mate in 2 now. Mate in 1. Good. Good game by the Rayansh. And the kids have fought for like 76 seconds, 76 moves, which is a big number when it comes to a Bleeds game. Let's just try to see what happened in this game. I think the position has a lot, because a lot of moves were played. We'll just try to scroll through a bit and we'll take from the half of the game. So the kids were in the bishop endgame, and both had almost similar material. Like white had around 7 pawns versus black had 5. So black was already having 2 less pawns in the position. The thing which is surprising me is the bishop on g2 was somehow lobbed. Like, this bishop does not have a good utility here. And if we look at the white's bishop, it is a monstrous bishop. It's active and it can go anywhere on the board and do anything, whatever it wants. I think that was an important part in this game. The activity has justified a lot of things. And black was exchanging pawns, but that is that going to favor white? That's a question. No, the pawns were equal, and I think this was a mistake that probably black made, because this is like a free pawn you are giving to your opponent. Your opponent took that pawn for free, and They have showed no hesitation because you gave it. Then that pawn was not only a free pawn, but again it became a passed pawn. Like the pawn which has the highest chance of becoming a queen from your team. And it kept on moving and your king had to like look after that, and I think that became one of the solid reasons. Exchanging the bishop here wasn't the way, but even if you like, okay, one of the idea here can be to play bishop to h6. So if your opponent plays bishop to f7 to take your king out of the way, then you can take it with your bishop and win a free bishop. But then I'm thinking after bishop to h5, there is this move bishop to d7, and after, okay, but that will also not work for white. I think bishop to h5 could have been a better way to play here, and the exchange wasn't the best. Exactly. White is just completely dominant. That one pawn black gave on the square e4 has costed them the whole game. Again, we can see one more thing, that black was also running out of the time, so they were fighting the time as well, and that has been one of those reasons. And then a wonderful execution of the checkmate after that. Good game by both the players. Let's just go and see. Okay, we are getting a request for top chess part one more time. Let's try to see if they have made any change. Parth is taking on Eric. Let's see how they are playing. The game is already ended again, so we need to wait. Okay, let's focus on the leaderboard now, because I think that is going to make the last difference. We have got 69 participants in today's tournament, and the top two are right in front of us. Here, finally, Starfish Pikachu has lost its first game to Abhi the champion. Both were having undefeated streak of multiple games, wins in a row. And now finally, when they got paired against each other, Abhi managed to outplay the Starfish and they lost their first game. And Abhi's like 1 point away from outplaying him. We just need to see how Starfish Pikachu lost to him, because both were undefeated throughout the tournament. And then when they took on each other, one managed to win. Abhi was playing white, Starfish was playing black. There was a Queen's Gambit on the board, Slav defense. And then if the bishop comes out, you have this plan of Queen b3 trying to attack the b7 and trying to even look up. You also look to attack the light square weaknesses as well. And then knight was played to e5. I think white played it really well. I think white had a very good preparation in the opening. And pawn was played on h3 with the idea of expanding on g4 if needed, or preventing the knight bishop from going here. Knight was played on d7 back then, and then it's not generally a good idea to take here. Okay, you're winning a pawn, that's correct, but opponent can also take on b7 after that. There's an idea of rook to b8 in the future, but sometimes it's not good to take that knight. Sometimes it is good, but white themselves decided to trade down the knight, and white expanded completely. So this shows the mentality of white, that they do not want to castle on the king side, and they want to play an open game. Bishop was then got developed on g2 while increasing the pressure along the d5. Knight came in the center. Bishop managed to get rid of it. Now there was a bishop outpost, and a lot of exchanges took place. But I think white is better at this point because of the pawn placement here, because they have a good space in the center. And if they manage to play pawn to c5, opponent can never break in the position with c5, and the black is going to have the real struggle. Also, this bishop won't get developed if that happens. And I am really believing, even though white has not castled, white is still doing really good in this game because of their space advantage. Black broke with c5. It's a good break, but now your own king safety can also get compromised. So you need to be careful playing this position. The bishop was played on c3. Pawn took the pawn, and this opens up the game more for. I think taking here with the bishop can have its own advantages. I'm thinking in that order, because you can then take on. You can take on a7 if you want in the future. Rook can come on d1. There can be some tactics down the road. But your rook needs to be connected if you want to perform that activity. Isn't the bad decision at any point. Now black attacked this pawn thrice and white had no way to guard it. Okay, white is also guarding it thrice, but we need to see how this turns. Pawn to f4 was played and white decided to play a complete open game. Okay, so white has a very good audacity here. And the rook was played on h5. What a wonderful show. Your queen and your king are in the same semi-open file. I try to place a rook in front of it and I'll try to trap your queen and win it with a pin. Good game here. Bishop was played to e7, but that disconnected the rook from the pawn. Again, please note, rook to c5 is not a move after bishop because bishop can simply grab your rook now. So black found a defense, but white figured out a weakness that the rook and the pawn got disconnected after the bishop was played in between the rook and the pawn to stop that rook's idea. So wasn't, again, white was doing really fine. Exchange of pieces here and white had a solid game going here. Also, white had more pawns in the position. They were like 2 pawns up. And they kept on pushing in the position. I think Abhi played it phenomenally good here. Also, white played bishop to d4. What a tactical show. Why is it a tactical show? Again, the rook and the king are in the center. So bishop can take on b6 and there is going to be a pin on this rook to the king. So I think white is just well aware about their tactics. And bishop still took the pawn, attacking the rook. And rook is having a tough time. Rook has got trapped actually. Look at this. The rook is having no way to move back and forth up. Like they cannot go up and down. They cannot go left and right. All squares are covered. And I think white has a very good tactical side here. As soon as they moved their bishop, this pin got broken. And if you don't give me or this bishop, I'm going to take this. What a show, what a game by the champion here. I think he's justifying his name and he actually deserves this win. He's leading with 37 points, which is a very big number. We are getting a request for Arab UK, but we are in the last 5 minutes, so we'll quickly take a glance on that game. Okay, Arav is playing with the white pieces and Mithilin is playing with the black pieces. We are in the last 4 minutes and position is more or less equal right now, but okay, it is getting fun because when the tournament's timer is about to end, kids try to gain as much points as they can to place themselves better in the ranking of the tournament. So they will play a bit faster because obviously the tournament will end after this game potentially. So they're trying to play a bit faster and trying to get some points for themselves. Now both have not castle and this can be one of the thing that they need to work upon. One of the plan that black can use here is not repetitive checks. It can lead to a draw. Black could have played bishop to e3 threatening queen to d2 mate. You know, if you want to get a quick mate, you need to have the helper at the right position and you need to know how to threaten a mate in pressurizing situations. This can lead to a threefold actually. The repetition of moves and that can lead for a draw. So we don't know. Yes, it has lead to a draw and both kids will carry 1 point out of that position. And last 3 minutes. Again, Swayam is catching up on the Abhi. So we need to see how is that going to flourish further. Okay. And Starfish Pikachu is taking on Abhi one more time. Previously, Abhi defeated Starfish. And maybe Starfish wants to take a comeback game. So we never know. Swayam is taking on Part. So we'll take the Starfish game because I think that is going to be way more fun to see here. Wow. Wait, knight has been played to e5. King is badly compromised. What has just happened? I want to see this from the beginning. This time it was an e4 game and black found a tactic here, but White gave a bishop sacrifice. Black is having a 2-pawn center. They were doing a bit good. I think pushing the pawn is the right decision here. I think castling was important at this point for Black. Leaving your king in the center can create problems, because if you release the tension, opponent's rook has got activated after pawn takes, and this rook has prevented the black from castling. I think they did not pay attention, and you also gave light square weaknesses by moving your f pawn and h pawn together. So queen dived in. If the okay, and here the position got a bit worse for the black here because of the king safety getting compromised. They tried holding a bit longer, and we are in the last 1 minute. The game is still going on. I don't see any chances for black winning this, but yes, white can convert if black runs into any sort of pressure and they make some wrong move. Like queen takes c7 is a mate, as I said. They disconnected, and what a presence of mind by Abhi, maintaining his composure, creating the right pressure on the black. I think this kid is deserving to be on the first spot. Not biased to anyone, all students are equal to me, but this kid is just showing. I've not seen more players playing like this at his current rating range. Especially at 15-4, you are not so good, but this kid is showing the right skills. And for other kids, definitely it is going to be a game where they learn and they get better with time. So tournament is about to conclude, and again the tables are flipping down. Last 30 seconds, and we are going to have our winners and top contestants. Swayam is having like no way to catch up on Abhi right now. His game has ended. Starfish Pikachu ended. Arush has came out of nowhere on the 4th position. So a good deal by this kid. He was never there, I guess, in the top 10 earlier. And suddenly this kid, have played some good games, and he has scored some good points during the tournament, and he's came up. And here our tournament has finally concluded. So we have Rayansh on the 10th position with 20 points. We have Karatefish on the 9th position with 20 points. We have Levinesh on the 8th position with 23 points. We have Parth on the 7th position with 24 points. We have Afnan on the 6th position with 25 points. We have Arush on the 4th position with 26 points. And one thing to note, the players from from the 10th position to the 4th position only had the difference of 6 points. So all have played really, really well. We have Starfish Pikachu on the 3rd position with 32 points. And they have a win rate of 75%. We have Swayam on the 2nd position with a win rate of 71%. And then we have Abhi the champion, justifying his tag behind his name. He's having a win rate of 100% and the 1st position. All the players have really, really played well, especially the top contestants. And it was a fun tournament. I congratulate to all the winners. All the players who came on this weekend and gave your time to chess, I'm sure in the future the chess will give the good results back to you. Keep practicing. Your coaches will help you to get better by analyzing these games and helping you to get better. You can rewind the stream, you can take some lessons. That's it for today. Take care till then. Bye and have a really good time. To all the viewers, if you liked our work, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hype up this video if you're getting that option. And that is it. Take care till then. Bye and have a really good time.